This is a targeted, focused effort at people who are on a list of active terrorists who are trying to go in and harm Americans, hit American facilities, American bases, and so on. It is important for everybody to understand that this thing is kept on a very tight leash.
Mr. President, the argument that this is a short list and that it's on a short leash and that we can trust you to make the right decisions because these are threats to Americans is a disingenuous argument. I mean, in some cases, the targets you've hit have been Americans where they've been denied due process, their day in court. If you wanted to evict Anwar al-Awlaki from his house, you have to give him notice and his day in court to contest it. But you're saying that you have the right alone to put him on a list and designate him for assassination without trial. And that's a pretty broad leap for a president to make.
First, these targeted strikes are legal. Attorney General Holder, Harold Koh, and Jay Johnson have all addressed this question at length. To briefly recap, as a matter of domestic law, the Constitution empowers the President to protect the nation from any imminent threat of attack.
The problem is that the administration's definition of imminence, feasibility of capture, is so vague and elastic that it's robbed of its plain meaning. For imminence, for example, the administration does not need to have evidence of an actual plot that's about to take place, and that's from the leaked white paper, which applies only to US citizens. We're left guessing what the standards are for non-citizens, who are the vast majority of people who have been killed.
Due process and judicial process are not one and the same, particularly when it comes to national security. The Constitution guarantees due process. It does not guarantee judicial process.
I don't know what kind of due process you're talking about here. Whatever due process means, it cannot mean a determination based on secret evidence presented only to the executive branch behind closed doors. It's hard to see how that sort of one-sided decision-making can lead to a high degree of confidence about anything.
We have a responsibility to defend this country, and that's what we're doing. And anyone who suggests that somehow, we're employing other tactics here that somehow violate international law are dead wrong.
Of course, the administration has a duty to protect the United States from serious threats. That's its responsibility. But simply stating that doesn't mean that anything goes. There are still rules that govern self-defense. And if you're going to use lethal force, you've got to be shooting either at a combatant in a recognized war, or have to be meeting an imminent lethal threat.
These strikes are legal, they are ethical, and they are wise.
But Mr. Carney, that assurance just doesn't hold up against what we know about this program. Let's take one example. In December of 2009, the U.S. fired missiles at a Bedouin village in Yemen, killing 41 members of 2 families, including 21 children.
I am not somebody who believes that the president has the authority to do whatever he wants or whatever she wants, whenever they want, just under the guise of counterterrorism.
The president believes in checks and balances, but that can't happen when the public and the courts are out of the loop. Congress doesn't have an incentive to act because all of this is happening outside the public eye. If this were a troop deployment to another combat zone, we'd see Congress really pushing the administration and pushing it publicly. But that's not the dynamic here, because drones are a black hole in terms of accountability.
The hallmarks of the rule of law are transparency and accountability. And although the Obama administration has repeatedly promised meaningful transparency, it has failed to provide it.
Especially when we're talking about using lethal force to kill people. The president can't expect support from the American people if he fails to provide even the most basic information about who the United States is killing in our name and for what reason. The Obama administration is sending the world a signal. It started a new kind of war-making. It's a war-making that in the past that we've condemned. We've said that we don't condone assassinations.
Killing should not be the first resort. There should be a responsibility to capture, if you can, as a way of minimizing the risk to the rights of us all through this amorphous global battlefield.
I mean, we have really been told nothing more effectively than trust us, and that just isn't enough for any administration, regardless of the person in power.